Hi YouTube! This is a 2014 Mitsubishi Outlander 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine, and see that? Routine maintenance required. It's time to do an oil change. Let me show you how to do it. First, you have to make sure that you run your engine to operating temperatures. A way of knowing is that now you have this little bar to the middle. All right, let's get here to what you're gonna do in preparation. Let's open the oil lid. It unscrews, and I'm gonna take the dipstick out. Yeah, make sure to clean it. It's gonna come, of course, with oil. Now, the oil type. This is the oil type that this car requires, and of course, this is what I went for. And I went for this oil filter, and other than that, you're gonna need a 17mm ratchet tool. I use this in order to remove the oil filter in case when it's hard to remove it by hand. An oil pan, we're gonna use a funnel towards the end, a rag, and I tend to put something here because inevitably there will be some spills. Now, look, we're gonna get on the passenger side of the vehicle, and we're gonna go under because that's where the oil plug is. We go. As far as the location of it, it is right here. Follow my finger, and by the way, the oil filter is right here. So what you're gonna do is come here with your hand, and you're gonna be able to grab it right there. Yeah, so but first let's take care of that 17mm plug. I'm gonna give you a different angle so that way you can see it, but it's not necessarily the way you're gonna approach it. I'm coming in from the passenger side, and it's just for you guys to see it. It is right, wow, right there. I don't know if you can actually see it right there. It's the only plug that you can see there. And of course, I already put the oil pan under it. As I have the tool right now, if I hit it that way, that is going to loosen it. But remember, it's lefty-loosey or counterclockwise. But because I am on the back side of it, I'm going to have to do it like that, and it will loosen relatively easy. Now that I did loosen it first, what I'm going to do is as I open, I push towards the pan so that way I have better control. Now it's starting to come out, and I quickly let it go. See? Okay, the advantage that I have with this pan is that it has like a net or something that holds the plug. Otherwise, you're gonna have to try to grab the plug with you. Important note here. This is the plug. Now, what you see in here to the left is the use. Some people refer to this as a cross washer. I think Mitsubishi refers to it as the oil plug ring. Now, this is the one that was there. I went to the dealership and I got myself a new one. I was fortunate enough that, I don't know, people at parts department felt like being good people today and they gave it to me for free. So I'm gonna put a new one here. And it's important that it is present there, otherwise you will get an oil leak. So if you don't have access to a new one, at least make sure that the old one is there. But I highly advise you to put a new one. Notice the big difference. As you use it, it becomes so flat that it will not do its job. I already had the car leaking once because of this. So now I have opted to put a new one every time I do an oil change, which I do the oil changes every 4,500 to 5,000 miles, even though, you know, many recommend doing it more like 8,000, but I'd rather be on the safer side. In my experience, it doesn't hurt to change your oil every 5,000 miles. And actually, even if you have an older vehicle, every 3,000 miles, assuming that you're using non-synthetic oil. This one has to be synthetic. Now that it's barely dripping, I am going to go ahead and put the plug back. Now make sure that it goes in straight. Let's see. So, and it should screw easily. And of course you keep your rag nearby. to clean, and I'm gonna move the pan to give me plenty of space in order to tighten this one. Yeah, this way. And be careful, don't go too hard. At first, if you have the new cross washer, you have to feel it. See, now it's crushing the washer right now. Right there, I felt it, that it buttoned right there. See, I'm gonna leave it like that. Now let's move to the filter. This is easy. Grab it first, and then try to undo it by hand. If not, you're gonna have to get some form of tool like the one I show you to remove it. But it's counterclockwise again. All right, let's see if you can see this. I managed to do it by hand. So took a little bit of effort, but since I was the one who did it before, because it's recommended. Here we go. All right, so it's dripping right now. I'm gonna let it drip until it's comfortable enough to take the rest of the filter out. Now it's done dripping. I'm gonna be finishing unscrewing it, and then make sure that I bring it down as straight as possible, and then I dump it. And I'm gonna put it upside down for it to continue draining. If you are gonna be using a new oil filter, which is my case, I normally go for mobile, and this is the part number in case you want to go for them. Now, this is my first time using K&E and N. What next you're gonna do is grab a little bit of oil, and we are going to put a little bit of oil around here, the gasket, just for it to have better contact. Now the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna fill this up with oil. Next, let's fill it up. I'm gonna use the funnel so that way it gets in there. So this is pretty much what it looks like. I think I put a little too much, but I keep it in here hoping. There you go. No, we're good. We're good. See, this is kind of what you're expecting. Let's now put it back in there, and it's the same thing as with the plug. You put it in there, and you need to feel it and make sure that it goes in straight. You do not want to cross thread these things. By the way, as a side note, it hasn't happened with Mitsubishi's, but there are some oil filters where this rubber gasket sometimes gets stick to the engine, so you have to make sure that it comes with the filter, so that way you don't have issues installing the new one. But in this case, we're good. Okay, let's finish now. Tighten it. See, as I said, we're gonna do it by hand, and as hard as you can, but not extremely hard. See, right there. And this is it. Since I know it takes 4.5 quarts, see, I have my measurements here in liters, and then in here in quarts, so I can easily pour at least half, a little more than a half, and then I'm going to start getting my measurements here. So ideally you want your oil mark to be somewhere in between this and this, preferably as close to full as possible, but definitely you do not want it to be, let's say for instance here, but at the very least here at this point, but ideally somewhere in between the two. If my calculations are correct, I put about 4 quarts. So now let's get this in here and measure. It's a little dark, a little dark to see, that's what I mean. So we put it in here all the way, and then pull it out, and let's check it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, the first one, I'm not gonna take that reading. I'm gonna wipe it and then stick it in there one more time. All right, here we go. And let's see. Okay, because the oil is so new, it's kind of hard to see, but it's just about here. So I guess we're gonna have to go a little bit more, and basically just do that. Let's get to another half a quart, and see. All right, let's pour more. Let's see. This is how you pour it. Very simple. I just checked, and it checked fine. So what I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna put the lid. This is important. Before you run your engine, you have to put this lid back in there. Okay, so let's recap before I turn on the engine. This one is in there. This one is in there. My filter is in place, as well as my 17 millimeter plug. Now notice that I'm going to leave this cardboard in here in case something starts leaking. I'll be able to see right away. So let's get this engine running and double check. And once I'm only going to do it for a minute or two, and then what I'll do is I check the oil level. Now we need the vehicle preferably to be on a flat surface, flat as in as level as possible. And I think I have a little bit of an incline, but not too bad. All right, engine's on. Let's check in here. I don't see any leaks, so I'm still gonna wait a little bit. I just did it, so let's wait another minute or so. And next thing you'll see is us checking the oil level again. Okay, now with the engine off, I'm gonna go ahead and do the oil inspection again. And as I said before, I'm not gonna read the first one. I'm gonna clean it and then read the second one. Now you have to reset the required maintenance light. In order to do that, you have to make sure that the vehicle is on the off position, and we're gonna come to this here. We're gonna click on it, and notice what's gonna be happening over there. Click, click, until I get to this screen. All I did is click, 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 click. Now I'm gonna press and keep it pressed. Look what's gonna happen. It's gonna start flashing. I'm gonna let go of the button and I'm gonna press it again. And see, it clears. And then after that, it tells me that my next, this is all messed up. I think something's going on that is telling me that it's 28,100 miles or 6 months, but it's not accurate. So what I have opted to do, I'm doing my oil changes every 5,000 miles. And normally they say 8,000, but 5,000, I feel safe doing it that way. All right, take care. Bye-bye.